If you find yourself in a toxic or abusive relationship and you haven't been able to make any changes, perhaps you have children, so you tell yourself that you're staying for the sake of the children. Maybe you've been cheated on once and you think to yourself, everyone deserves a second chance. Perhaps you've invested years into the relationship and you feel like with more time, things will gradually improve. What if I told you whatever reason that you were thinking of to stay is not true and is just an excuse that your brain is using to trick you into convincing you that your rationale behind staying is justified? Let me explain you what I mean. What you could in fact be experiencing is a trauma bond. A trauma bond is an emotional attachment that develops through repeated cycles of abuse, insults, demoralization, followed by positive reinforcement. On the onset of abuse, abusers might pull a victim in through love bombing, kindness, just being overly charming, and the highs of the relationship are very high, and then there'll be specific incidences that will take place where they will demoralize you, they will, insult you, humiliate you in public. They might use physical abuse, and they will apologize and they will be very remorseful, promise never to do it again. These are the components that you would see. So there's the positive reinforcement, and then you will see there's the bad behavior, which is followed by empty promises, and then you'd see the cycle repeat again. Victims eventually recognize this pattern and the cycle of abuse. Now, the way that I work in my practice is the reason why it's difficult for most people to leave toxic relationships is because from where you are to where you want to get, there's a huge gap, and normally the distance between wanting to get from where you are is too far to being able to leave the relationship, and that's why most victims are unable to successfully leave without going back. In my practice, the way that I work is I meet you where you're at. For some victims, you might be in a place where you recognize that you are in a trauma bond, but you also are not ready to leave. You recognize that you're unhappy, that you're miserable, that you no longer like the person that you're with, but you can't leave because it leaves you emotionally distressed. The person keeps calling you back. One call from them makes you feel like you want to return. And if that's where you're at, then it's okay. That's where we start. Perhaps you're at a different stage. You're at a stage where you are ready to leave and you are emotionally detached from the person, and now we've just got to work on the logistics, and that's where we start. The point is to start from where you're at, recognize where you're at, and find help and support from there.